So, hello to everyone who is here today. And what we're going to be talking about in this session is about finding your sweet spot between the yin and yang in your business. So there's a little dance that happens in our businesses that helps us to be successful. And it's between these two energetic states. Now, this is something that I personally love working with clients on and talking to clients, particularly people who are in the holistic spaces and the wellness spaces, because a lot of us already get a lot of this type of stuff. But maybe we've learned it from the perspective of health and wellness, and we haven't learned it from the perspective of how it applies to our businesses, because it's very, very important in our businesses as well. Everything is connected. Okay, and so it is such a crucial part of our success because, as you know, like energy is quite subtle, right? It's not something that we see with our eyes. It's something that we feel. It's something that we sense. And it can often be forgotten about when we're in the pursuit of building our business. When we are growing and building our businesses, we tend to be more in a doing place. We've got big kind of to-do lists. We're working out how to be more disciplined, how to create schedules, all of these types of things. Or maybe you're the opposite side, and maybe actually you've kind of gone, I don't want to look at any of that stuff. I'm just going to play with reels all of the time. And absolutely no judgment if you're in either of those spaces. But I really want to take this opportunity to raise some awareness to this work, because it's really important. And it took me a while to actually truly understand and appreciate this. Okay, so before we get started in this, let's talk about the key aspects of both yin and yang in business and, of course, in life as well. So what are we talking about when we're talking about yang states in business? So many of us associate business more with a yang state, okay, because it's things that we most likely know if we have worked in a business before, if we've worked in the corporate space or any sort of institutions. We've all gone through school, right? That's pretty yang place to be. Okay, so what do we think about? We think about taking action, we think about strategy, we think about structure, we think about momentum, we think about systems and processes and regimented regimes and discipline and all of these types of things, right? And then when we think about a yin state in business, this is often what can be actually missing a lot in the big corporates of the world, okay? So that's where there's that disparity, there's that imbalance in our world in general within business, is that a lot of the big corporates and a lot of the traditional institutions, they're very yang oriented and they don't actually leave any space for the yin. What does yin look like within business? This looks like receptivity. It looks like more stillness. It looks like more spaciousness, flow, inspiration, intuition, creativity, all of this kind of juiciness that is so important in business if we want to have something that's alive, that's fun, that's bringing those kind of more heart-based aspects of self out through the business. It's what's really connecting us to our customers, right? But it's often something that's really forgotten in traditional business. Okay, so let's look at where this imbalance that we may find in our own businesses as we're building our business may come from. So for many of us, we may have had a bad experience in a corporate career before we came into business ourselves. We may have had male bosses that, weren't particularly nice. We had some bad experiences there. Or maybe we had too much structure, or maybe we had female bosses that were operating very much in toxic masculine state. I know I did. Maybe we had too much structure and discipline in childhood, or had bad experiences at school where we had to sit for really long periods of time and we felt stifled. And what can happen is that we can find ourselves, if we've had any of these experiences, we can find ourselves really wanting to reject the yang entirely. and to lean much more towards yin energy states. Now, don't get me wrong, there definitely is a benefit to moving towards the more yin, if you have had toxic experiences in yang. If you have spent way too long going and pushing and striving and hustling, and you've maybe even gone into places of burnout, then actually you may need to swing the other way into a state of more yin for a longer period of time to bring the body, the mind back into a state of homeostasis. And that is helpful. However, what can happen, and I talk very much from personal experience here, is that then we can go too far into the yin, where we're just wanting to create and build and just do flowy things and just feel into what feels nice and inspiration. I'll go with the flow and all of this. But that actually is not helpful if we take that energy with us into the business space, if we're wanting to grow a business, because those states are not going to be conducive if we're predominantly in them to actually create a business that supports us, supports our clients, and has a structure and a support system in which to grow. So if you think about it from nature, like most things in nature, yin and yang, these opposing states, they need to find balance. And so just imagine if there was no nighttime and only daylight, or if there was only daylight and no nighttime. And I know there are some places in the world that experience this. The same as you think about seasons as well. You know, I've moved to northern New South Wales, and there isn't the same distinction in the seasons as there is in other places that I lived in the UK and also in Melbourne, Australia. I haven't lived in a tropical environment, fully tropical environment, to know what it would be like to actually not experience having some cold or autumn. You know, that would be different. So I know that there are some places in the world that don't have so much delineation. But, you know, even if you live in a tropical place, you've still got changes in the seasons between the wet and the dry, okay? So there's still that contrast that happens. And we know that that's required in nature to maintain a sense of balance. Okay, and this is why I love to teach clients to ensure that both of these states are fully taken care of when they are building their businesses, their soul-aligned businesses. Because so many of us who have gone into the wellness space and we're wanting to build a naturopathy business, a health coaching business, we're service-based entrepreneur within wellness. We often are doing it from a heart-based place. We're doing it because we want to be inspired, we want to be creative, we want to serve. And we also need to ensure that we have those more yang elements of business really fully taken care of so that we can really thrive within this career. And I'll tell you a little bit about my experience here. Before I ask you some questions. So for me, I really burnt out in corporate a number of times. And this led me to really crave spaciousness, time out from just having to do stuff. I didn't want any commitment or responsibilities. And I just wanted this full sense of flow, creativity, spontaneity, connecting in with my intuition. And it led me to traveling around Latin America for 18 months. I went into my yoga teacher training in India. I did like a whole bunch of studies around health coaching, and then more different studies around yoga as well. And which was amazing. And I lived in Barcelona and I taught yoga on the beach, and I moved to Australia and taught yoga as well. And I just loved that lifestyle. But I was also studying health coaching, and I thought that this would be a perfect complement. I could work with a few clients in health coaching, teach them yoga, and I just have this really beautiful flowing business, right? And then it wasn't until I realized that I was actually operating in a toxic yin state that I knew that there was some shift that needed to happen. What do I mean by toxic yin state? Well, this is when it's like, oh, I'll only show up when I feel inspired, which means then we're showing up sporadically, which means that we're not consistent, and then we're not building trust with our clients. I also loved creating, but I really shied away from any structure. So again, it was just sporadic. It was, it wasn't, there was no kind of reliability or consistency there. I love teaching and recording podcast episodes and interviews, but then what I would do is I would shy away then from selling and telling people about what it was that I did and how I could serve them. And so what ended up happening was I started to burn out again. Because I had absolutely no boundaries with my time, with the way that I worked and all of that. I was also people pleasing, I was over giving, and I was under receiving. And as a result, because the energy exchange wasn't equal, I then started to burn out. Oh my goodness, it's been a journey. And I had no idea where I was headed, other than I had this far off dream, this vision, but I had absolutely no idea or plan or roadmap or strategy in which to get to where it was that I wanted to go. And it wasn't until 2018, 2019, after a few years of playing around my business, that I finally knew that I would have to do something in order to change things, because I was committed to my business, to my vision, to my goals. So I knew that I had to become friends with strategy, structure, systems. And so as a result, because I had a lot of resistance to this, because I had some healing to be done, I found coaching programs and mentors who were going to be able to support me. And what I came to realize was that the key to providing me with more energy, more creativity, and more freedom, and ultimately in turn, more confidence and certainty in my business and working with my clients, was that I needed to bring in these pieces into my business. Because I knew these things, they helped me to know where I was going, why I was doing what I was doing. And they gave me a plan and a process in which to get there. And so I'd love to know from you, does any of this resonate with you, what I'm speaking about? Whether that be my story, or whether that be around the yin and the yang. Pop below, which state do you find yourself predominantly in your business? If you're finding that you've swayed too much in one direction, ask yourself, what's the opposite of that? And how can I bring more of that into my business and into my day-to-day? Because we know that too much of anything is never a good thing. I love apples, and I ate so many apples, and then it started to destroy my teeth, right? Too much of anything, even if it's something really good, is not helpful to us. And that to have a thriving business in the wellness space, creating reels, creating Canva posts, and a pretty website, spending all of your time doing that without a strategy isn't going to be sustainable or help you to grow a business that serves both yourself and your dream clients. I am really passionate about helping you to bring both parts of yourself together into a place of wholeness within your business, so that you can really reclaim your uniqueness, stand in your own individuality, have that point of difference in the marketplace, and really communicate what it is that you do to your dream clients, so that you can support them on their health and wellness journey. And in turn, you get to have that ripple effect through the work that you do. And it also supports you in living the life that you want to live. So if you'd love to know more about how I can support you, you'll find a link below, and you can book in a free discovery with me to discover what it would be like to have support in your business and whether we're a match. Wishing you a beautiful rest of the day. Do pop down below which state you know that you're going to lean more into, and any takeaways that you have from the video today. And I can't wait to speak to you soon.